Right, I'm just doing a quick video. Firstly, excuse the mess in the kitchen. Basically, someone was chatting to said, "Oh, I don't have time to do food prep and this, that, and the other," and I find that a load of rubbish, to be honest with you, because food prep takes me about half an hour for a week's worth of food. Um, well, for about not quite a week's worth. Anyway, I just want to go through some of the things I use. Not all these are the best, but I do use them. Firstly, most important, tubs. These are tubs I use. These are €3, I think, for a 3 pack in Lidl. They hold about a litre, which is more food than anyone's going to eat. They look a bit small, but it's just the way they're stacked high. I like them because they're stacked high, which means I have my meat, my veg, and then I can toss in salady bits and whatnot on top of that. I have a ton of those. I try to go with all the same because, well, it's easier to stack them. And square ones are much better for the simple reason they fit together properly. You stick them in the bag, they don't fold or fall over as much. Those lids are quite good. For the salad, if I'm bringing salad with me, I usually use these because they clip together. If you see the side bit, and you can get more of these and they'll all clip under them and whatnot. But I don't do more than 2 days worth. If I'm doing salad, it's usually tomato and cucumber. Absolute essential is the weighing scale. I probably cook up about 1.5 to 2 kilos of meat at a time. So scale is very important. So is one of the more important things, sharp knife. This is an actual really cheap knife set, but it works perfectly. I also recommend a chopping board. Other essential, peeler. If you're doing sweet potatoes or cucumber or anything like that, you always use peeler because I absolutely take tons out of it if I use a knife. Other things I have in the background here. These are larger tubs I just got. I'm going to be using them in a little while for doing up some of the oats, which is pretty much a staple in my diet. I use a lot of oats. I blend them up with eggs to make, and egg whites to make pancakes. Occasionally I throw a bit of fruit in there. Another thing when cooking that is an absolute essential is plastic bowls. These run like about €1 or €1.50. You decant into them and weigh them because that bowl's obviously too small if you're doing up 2 kilos. That scale, by the way, when I bought it years ago, was about a £5. Anyway, these are good to have around. I like all the same size bowls because then you know exactly how much they weigh in case you have an accident and you forget to zero the scale. Bump, let's put that over there. Oh. Another essential for cooking with. Spoon with holes in it. The reason that is essential is because when I cook, a lot of times I use sauces, which I'll go through in a minute. But the holes help drain the sauce off so that when you go to weigh the chicken out first, or whatever meat you're using, you get a true weight. And then I keep the sauce, I mix it through the vegetable later, and then, because obviously the protein is more important to me, to make sure that's 100% on. Also, non-stick pan. This one looks a bit old and whatnot. It's because it is. I've had this about 7 or 8 years and I looked after it, so it's still pretty much non-stick. I do not use any oils when cooking. And I still don't burn anything for that. If I'm doing any sort of egg in it and something gets stuck to the side, it'll literally just peel off as soon as the pan cools down. Rice. Not the best rice to get. This is just stuff I have in case I need quick source of carbs. This is a lot of rice. I know it says this is probably a 2-person portion. This is more like a 4-person the way I dish them out. I don't go through a lot of carbs though, but some people do. If I was doing a lot of carbs, I'd just cook up a huge batch of the loose rice. Much cheaper. Sauces. Probably a bit of a controversial subject because I know a lot of people don't use sauces with their food, and I didn't until I started back. I just put a bit of flavour in it. I'm probably going to go a bit stricter after next week, and I might cut sauces out because it is a bit of calories in it. This is Spanish chicken. These are all cheap little ones. Spanish chicken, the chili con carne. These two, the sort of Mexican-y one as well, any sort of Mexican stuff tends to be more like 50 calories per 100 grams. The Thai green curry, I think, is about 100, but then again, there's less in it. There's only like about 340 grams in that. This one's about 80, tikka masala. I didn't bother getting the corn one because I think it was a bit more. That is, I think 80 something per 100. Now, okay, that's a smaller one, but these will all do about 2 kilos of chicken. So by the time you divide that out between the amount of meals you're making, and obviously it depends how much you're going to use, how much protein you want and whatnot. It's not a huge amount of calories. Another thing I keep in my pressed tuna chunks. It's just quick source. I usually put a tiny bit of sauce on it from Peri Peri, which is very low calories. Or occasionally I've mixed that with cottage cheese. I eat a fair bit of low-fat cottage cheese, particularly at night. Sort of something I probably shouldn't have in the press is these. About 20 grams of protein in that, 22, 23, but it's a lot of calories for getting that amount of protein. I think it's like near 300 calories. Yeah, but if you're sort of stuck and you're in a hurry or you're having a lazy day and you can't cook, they do work okay as a meal replacement. What was saying? Oh, a staple as well. Not quite a staple, but I do have a lot of these in my cupboards. Whole beetroot, pickled red cabbage. These are all about 50 calories per 100, and they add a bit of flavor to things. This sauce here, which I haven't actually used, is quite low in the calories. 700 grams, which runs in at 34 calories per 100. I haven't actually used it, but there's a fair whack in that. I mean, I'd use half of that on 2 kilos of chicken. So if I was cooking up 4 at a time. In general, I buy chicken in bulk. I buy most meats in bulk if I can, so I get like a big 25 breast thing, which is like 20. Was it? It's things between 4.5 and 5 kilos of chicken for give or take about 29 euros, which isn't too bad. I cook that up in bulk, and first thing I do is weigh it out. I weigh it actually after it's cooked as well. I calculate after it's cooked. Everything goes on the scale. So I have my total. I weigh the veg. I tend to use frozen veg. It's much better value. It's pre-done. You can buy it at a certain weight. The only thing you can't buy pre that I use is sweet potatoes. I'm not using sweet potatoes tomorrow when I cook up. So the veg gets weighed out as well. That all goes into one of these little tubs. First goes in the chicken. Once it's been drained, the sauce gets mixed with the veg. Then the veg gets divvied up, weighed as well. So I have the sauce, the veg, and the meat. And what I do is I do up the weight of it, and I have carbs, protein, fats, and calories. And I do it literally like a little business copy, and then I have the totals at the end, and I divide it by the amount of meals I'm doing and whatnot, and I have my nutritional breakdown for each. The one thing that's usually lacking in my diet is fats. I'm not great with keeping up with the fats. It's just, I've never have been. So what I tend to do is when I'm making the pancakes, I throw in an egg yolk or two, and that sort of keeps the good fats in there. But I should be getting more fats throughout the day, but I don't. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Oh, freezer bags. These are awesome. If I'm only doing up 2 kilos at a time, I'll freeze the rest of it. I should say also, I have a policy. If it's not going to be used within 3 days, it goes in the freezer. It does go in these boxes. I have a chest freezer, so I do have room for it. If you don't have a chest freezer, I mean, you can just stick it in these freezer bags in different portion sizes, because you could literally get probably about 6 or 7 of them into small space, about that big. And those freezer bags are reusable. Once you've used them, you can wash them and whatnot. Just make sure there's the top bit is at the top while they're freezing, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's it. Pretty much no excuses for not making stuff up. Um, oh, one other thing I have here. I actually only started using these 2 days ago, and they are gorgeous. It's about 30 calories in them, and a couple of grams of carbs. That's basically all they are. Yeah, they just taste really nice. Probably not going to go too nuts on them because I do better on low carb. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You've no excuse not to do it up. As I said, it takes me from start to finish, chopping and everything, about half an hour to cook everything up. No, less than half an hour, probably about 20 minutes to cook everything up. Then I let everything cool. I let it cool in the pans, just so I'm not. I like the cooking process to keep going for a little while. So just let them cool in the pans, and once they've cooled, I divvy them up, and I have my totals of water in the meals, and that's about it. Yeah, no real excuses not to be doing it if you really want to lose weight. I mean, people say, oh, go to the gym, go to the gym, go to the gym, but 90% of the work is done in the kitchen. And if it only takes you about 30 or 40 minutes, that's not a huge amount of work. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, just find yourself a cheap source of meat. Or what I tend to do a lot as well is if I'm going into Lidl, they have this nearly out of date section where you can I picked up, I think it was about a kilo of cod or something for about €10 or less, which is quite good value. Once you freeze it that day, some little stuff you can't freeze because it's already pre-frozen, then defrosted. But if you freeze it the same day or you cook it the same day, then freeze it, you're good to go. Okay, thanks. Click like and subscribe.